Hi FlossTube, it's Robin. Thank you for coming and seeing my channel, Lady Robins, and that's also my name on Instagram, so you can follow me both places. Today is Tuesday, it's the 18th of August, and in case you're brand new, this is a FlossTube channel. It's a channel where I talk about cross-stitch. If you are a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. I am glad that all of you are here. Today, it is 8:30 p.m. I am to the water stage of life. There is no mug of the day this time. Sorry, guys. I ran around all day long. I thought, oh, I'll get up and, do these 3 errands and then I'll film my floss tube. And then I was like, well, I'll do one more thing and then I'll do one more thing. And before I knew it, one more thing, I one more thinged myself to 8:30 p.m. So it is much later than normal, but that's okay. Whenever you film floss tubes, it's a good thing, right? That's what I say. Okay, so what have I been up to? Stitching. I had another really good week full of stitching. I actually was able to stitch on 5 different pieces. I'm very excited to show those to you. I made some really good stitchy progress this week. Also, I had a viewer ask me a question in my comments on last video, so I'm going to answer that question. We'll talk about my plans for the upcoming week, and we'll get this done quickly because I have not had 1 minute to cross stitch today, so I'm looking forward to sitting down and picking up my stitching and getting some progress on something. Okay, what did I work on? I started my week with the Frankenstein SAL, the Stitching Book Club upcoming Frankenstein. They sent out a kind of a pre-stitch. They sent out the chart with the border, and so I am working on that border. And this is on a 32 count, picture this plus vellum fabric. I don't know if that shows up very well. It's got some really nice kind of subtle green modeling to it, which I really like. And then I have chosen DMC 936, which is kind of a darker piney green as my color. And so that is where I'm at on Frankenstein. I think last week I had just gone across the top, so I've gone down, I've done that little bit, and I'm starting on the word Frankenstein. So I need the border completed by the 29th of August. So I still have a few weeks to get more progress in on that and finish that up. So this I'm probably not going to stitch on this week, and I'll pull it out next week and finish up the border. That's what I say now, but subject to change without advance notice, right? I think I put only 1 day in. Yeah, I only stitched 1 day on the Frankenstein, so that's why there's not a whole lot to see. But I did do, excuse me, sorry. I did put in 2 days of stitching on our yummy Little House Needleworks Plant Kindness. And like I was telling you last time on my plans were to start working on the terracotta pot. And that's exactly what I did. I still have about 6 rows to finish off the pot. But I've got to tell you, I had stitched it in a slightly different manner. If you guys have not watched Jean Farish yet, you really need to go watch her. She showed how to do a stitch called I think it's the Victorian Cross. Basically, what you're doing is you're stitching. Now I stitch from left to right. The Victorian Cross, you go from the right hand side of your piece back to the left. And what happens with the Victorian Cross is you end up crossing every single stitch, which is really great when you're working with over dyed floss. And she shows how to do it in the sewing method, which is what I use as my preferred method. I like to stitch in hand and I like to do the sewing method. And so Jean showing how to do the Victorian Cross was fantastic. This little area here stitched up really quick, and usually big areas like this take me forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And it just sped up my stitching. I was so jazzed one night after kind of playing with how do you do this, and kind of, getting the feel of doing the Victorian Cross. I was so excited, you guys. I could not go to sleep. I just had, all sorts of stitching thoughts, like how this is going to help me complete projects quicker. And, we've talked about this before. That's not necessarily my goal, but there's so much great stitching that it's a bonus if you can get things done faster. So that is what 2 days worth of stitching for me resulted in. Again, is almost completing that pot in 2 days. And I am not a fast stitcher, but that was so cool. So that leads me to just pause for a moment. I had a viewer ask me to talk about how do you stitch 2/2 on linen. And I am, I'm no expert, but I did some thinking about how I could show you how to count that out, because that was the question, is how do you count those? So the first thing I did is I got my new issue of Just CrossStitch magazine, and in the back they have stitching illustrations. So one of the things I noticed was this fantastic diagram right here, and I hope that's showing in focus. Is that in focus? I think so. But you can see your thread comes up in this bottom hole, right? And there's your 2 stitches, 1, 2, but then you've got to go up, right? And so then from there you count 1, 2, and that's where you place that thread. So I did a quick little looks like a tic-tac-toe board. But I just wanted to go through this with you really quick so that I can try and answer your question. So here we are with our, let's pretend this is our linen, right? And our needle and thread is coming up here. And we want to make our first stitch. And so what you're going to do is you are going to count 2 threads. And so this is thread number 1, and this is thread number 2 going across. But we know we're not going to put our thread here. We're not going to go down here because we want to make a cross, right? So then we have to count upwards. So then this is thread number 1, and thread number 2, and we're going to go down there. So we come up here, we count 2 threads over, 2 threads up, and that's where you go down. Okay, now if you're going to continue, well, you're just going to take your thread behind the scenes here, and you're going to come up there, and then you're going to count 2 again. So this is thread number 1 and thread number 2, but we still have to go up. So here's thread number 1 and thread number 2, right? Whoops. And this is where you're going to make the next leg of your cross. Now we got to cross them back, right? So we're going to do the reverse. So we're going to count our 2 threads, you know, this is behind, right? And behind, we're going to come up here, and we're going to count 1, 2, yeah? Are you with me? And then 1, 2. So we're going to go from here, and basically we're sharing that original hole. So that's our other leg. Then behind our fabric, we're going to go down, right? And lo and behold, we're sharing the same spot again. So we're going to come up here, and we're going to count 1, 2, yeah? Are you with me? And then we're going to count 1, 2, and we're going to go down there, and we're going to go and make our X's. I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. So really you're counting, you know, you're counting 2 threads across and 2 threads up to find your spot. So I hope that helps. Now, for the, I pulled out a second piece of paper. So for the Victorian Cross, what she does is you start, you know, you start 2 in, right? You count your 2 up, and so you start here. You make half of your cross, and then what you do is you count your 1, 2, and you come up here. So you're behind the fabric, you come up here. Then across the top, you make your other leg. So you're going the other way, and then underneath you basically are going 4 over. You go up, you make your leg, you go behind your fabric, you go back down, and then you go underneath. So what happens, I hope that makes sense, is on the back of your piece, now here you can see that I have stitching that goes on the back, that goes top to bottom. Can you see that? When you do the Victorian Cross, you end up with horizontal lines. It looks like back stitching on the back of your piece, but it is super fast. So I hope that does something for you. It sure did something for me. Definitely go watch Jean Farish, her FlossTube #1. She shows it beautifully. She has an overhead camera. You can see her doing the stitches. It was phenomenal. It made a world of difference in my stitching. I was thrilled to learn about that technique. And then she had somebody ask her, so when you get all the way over to the left, then what do you do? I loved her answer. She's like, I just turn my piece upside down and I go again, and then I turn it right side up and I go again. I was like, I don't think I would have figured that out. I was so thankful to learn about the Victorian Cross from Jean. Like I said, it made a big difference. So those were the first two things that I stitched on, and that was what I learned by watching FlossTube. I thought that was fantastic. Okay, so that's the second thing that I stitched on. The third thing that I stitched on was Autumn Alphabet by the Scarlet House, and I found out I missed 2 stitches. So I did get my green stem, and I got the you know, the little spirals, but way in here I missed 2 stitches. So I need to load up my thread with a little of the nutmeg color and get that going and finish those off. And then I had thought that I would use this green thread all the way around the border. I will, but you have to do the nutmeg first before you get to the pollywog. So I ended up getting all the way around with the orange color. So this week I will get to the green color, the pollywog, and get that all filled in. That stitches up really quick. I sat and watched the Great British Baking Show while I worked on that. That show just cracks me up. I love that show. Today for dinner I made pork chops with a cranberry sauce to go over the top. I put cranberries in our rice. I put cranberries in the salad, and my husband's like, what's going on here? Why aren't we just having plain old pork chops? And I'm like, I've been watching too much Great British Baking Show apparently, because I want to jazz everything up. So my jazz tonight was adding cranberries to everything. And guess what? It turned out pretty good. I was kind of thrilled with my results. Okay, so after I worked on that, so I worked on Autumn Alphabet for 2 days. Then we went out to my parents' have a little cabin out on a real small lake, and I brought Harbor Haven with me. And that was the day that it was 102 degrees out there at the cabin. So I did jump in the lake. I really jumped in the lake to cool off. But when I wasn't jumping in the lake, I got some yummy stitching done. Oh my goodness, this fabric is so big. Couldn't find my stitching for a second. But that is where I got to on Harbor Haven. I love it, you guys. I just love it. I can't wait till I get to the sailboat. That's gonna be fun. I love sailboats. So I'm having a hard time not stitching on this. I just want to sit down and stitch and stitch and stitch on this. This will be a project that'll go on probably for years. But I mean, I felt pretty good about it, because when I started, I had maybe gone to here, so I got all of the tree done And then I started working on the little land, and then I got all the cute little flowers on the tree done. So I got some pretty good stitching done on this one. The only thing I'm thinking about is everything is charted in DMC, which is fantastic because it's color fast. If at the end of the piece I need to wash it, I have that option. Except I have decided to go nuts, and I didn't really dig the colors they chose for the water. So I have gone with 2 over-dyed flosses. Oh, that was a hard word. I've gone with 2 over-dyed flosses for the light and the dark for the water. But I haven't washed them yet. And I really feel like I should wash them like I did with my overdyes for Cardinal Points. Because if at the end of a couple of years of stitching, it's grimy, I want to know that I'm not going to get dye all over the place. So I need to find a couple of hours to run those under the hot water and then hang them up to dry just to be on the safe side. So that's why I didn't dive into the water, even though I was dying to. I went for the land instead. So I'm probably not going to stitch on this next week, but the week after that I definitely am going to want to break it out, because then I'll have had time to rinse those flosses to make sure that they're color fast. So there we are on Harbor Haven. And then the last thing that I broke out was Cinnamon Stars. I got some good work on Cinnamon Stars. Can you see that? There's our chart. And let me show you where I got to. So last time when I was stitching this, I had the peak done of the roof, and I had put kind of that star right in the center, but I hadn't done any of this or the windows. So I got that done, got that all done, and I did the Victorian Cross, so it whipped up pretty cool, and I got the windows in. So that, again, good progress, I thought, for this is only 1 day of stitching. So I was pretty thrilled with how this turned out. And again, I mean, I hate to keep stopping and starting on pieces, but I don't think I'm gonna stitch on this one next week because I have a couple other things that I want to give some love to, and I'll show you what those are. I am definitely going to keep stitching on Plant Kindness and Autumn Alphabet because I think those stand a chance of getting finished here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm pushing for a finish on those. And because I am trying to stitch on fall themed things, the other one that I had put down on my 24 hours of a cross stitch, a cross stick chart, is that what it's called? Planner, whatever. The other one, anyway, the other thing that I had said I wanted to stitch on this month is Fresh Picked Pumpkins by Barbie Pedal Pusher. And I haven't touched this in, I don't know, 10 months. I mean, it has been a super long time. So here is where I'm going to be starting. And what's funny about this, you guys, is look at this great big huge piece of linen. This is back in my center starting days. Because now, if I was going to start this, I would probably give myself 2 inches for sure, maybe even 3 inches. and start up in the upper left-hand corner. But it is what it is, right? I will just start where I was and get some progress done on this one. So, fresh picked pumpkins is on my list of items to stitch this week. And in fact, I might even stitch on this tonight after I'm done filming FlossTube for you guys. So, fresh picked pumpkins. The other one that, okay, this isn't a fall one, but I had wanted to stitch on it last week and I didn't get there, so I'm just going for it. I'm declaring I am going to work on Summer Snapperland. And it has been a long time since I touched this one also. So this is kind of card number 1. This is the first scene, and that's where I'm at on this. So this has got four little cards, and then it comes with a free border. And there's 3 and 4, and these aren't in the right order, but you get the gist, right? And it's by my beloved Bent Creek. So I feel like if I buckle down this week, I can get this first card completed. I really do. There's a lot of open space on this, and I've got the house and the whale windmill. Is that what this is? Weather vane. The whale weather vane done. So I think I could finish that up if I work on it diligently this week. So those are the 4 things that I am planning on stitching this upcoming week. And that is where I'm at on plans. I only have 2 things to show you in terms of haul. I have a subscription, like I showed you earlier, to Just CrossStitch magazine, and I hate to bash anybody, but there are lots of issues that I get, and I think there's only like 2 things that I'd stitch. Even if there's only 2 things, it's still a bargain, right? Because a chart can be $10, $12. So I keep up my subscription because even if there's only 2, it's better than none, right? Oh my goodness. You guys, this issue is chock full of things I want to stitch. Like this thing at the front, love it. Love everything about it. I'm just going to do a quick flip through. Look at that autumn tree. I like that. Oh geez, I'm looking at my fingers. Oh, I did it again. Look at this one. Pumpkin Harvest. That neat? That is using all sorts of specialty stitches. So we've got, I think that's Smyrna crosses. We have satin stitches. So there's some cool stuff to do on that. Becca, Miss Sambray Stitches, I thought of you immediately with the owl because you love the owls. I should have put tags in here. I think this is adorable. Happy Halloween with Jack swinging on a swing. I'm not a big fan of those legs for some reason, but I think it would look super cute even without the legs. So I'm thinking I might modify it. Look at this. Look at that guy. Couldn't be cuter. This magazine is absolutely chock full of fantastic things. I want to hold every single thing in here up and show you, but I'm not going to. You get the gist. This is a good issue. The last thing that I got this week was my latest So Much to Love project bag. It's really cute. And it's right here. Look at that. Kind of old-fashioned-y. The flowers kind of look almost like stitched or embroidered. It's so pretty. And look at the fantastic polka dots inside. So those were my 2 bits of haul, and I was pretty happy with those. All right, you guys, that's pretty much the stitching updates for me. Those are my plans. That's what I'm gonna do. I did feel like I let you down without a book recommendation last time, so I'm gonna out myself. I love a good urban fantasy. I'm reading Stormed Cursed by Patricia Briggs. This is the 11th in the Mercy Jackson series. If you need a good werewolf and coyote urban fantasy, I love this series. These characters are great. There's a lot of sexual tension, all of those things. It's silly and it's fun. I totally dig them. This is what I would call a potato chip book. You eat one and you go on to the next. It's fun. There's probably no redeeming value to this except for the fact that it's fun. So if you need a light read, Storm Cursed by Patricia Briggs would be a good choice if you like that sort of thing. All right, you guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. I'm planning on it. I go to work tomorrow. I now work Wednesday through Saturday. That's my new schedule, Wednesday through Saturday. So have a great stitchy week, you guys. I will catch you later. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below. If you're new here, I hope you enjoyed your time together with me, and subscribe, leave me a comment, tell me what you're stitching on. Do you have Halloween stitching plans coming up? I like fall stitching, and I'm not saying I hate Halloween. I like Halloween. I think it's fun. I like the light, non-scary Halloween. I don't like the ghoulish Halloween. So the projects in this issue are right up my alley. All right. Hey, you guys, stitch happy, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.